Print on Demand is a brand new version of the classic mental photography deck, and it's done by Penguin Magic. This takes the classic deck and revamps it by reversing the cuts in the cards. Is this right for you? Stick around because today we're going to find out. So I brought a totally normal deck of cards with me today.
Okay, he's lying.
It's not supposed to be blank. This isn't a blank deck. It's actually printed with psychic ink. The ink, you just can't see it. It's invisible.
Okay.
But it knows what you're thinking, right? Like, it looks blank to you. Does it look blank?
I would say so.
But it's actually printed. This ink knows what you're thinking of. Like, if you think of the 9 of hearts, the 9 of hearts actually prints. The rest, it doesn't print the back, and the rest is completely blank, but the 9 prints, and that's fun. Or if you think of the 6 of spades or something, the 6 of spades prints, but not on the back, and the rest of them aren't printed. But if you want a back, you can actually get it to print by doing that. And now, it's easy to confuse this with a full deck of cards because the top and bottom are printed, but keep in mind that they're really blank all except for the top and bottom. If you want a full deck, you have to imagine a full deck, and the second you imagine a full deck is the second the deck prints. Yeah, a whole deck of cards prints. But if you stop thinking of that deck of cards for any reason, it stops printing. Here, hold your hand out flat for me. Let's take this card, the 3 of clubs. And I'm going to leave it on your hand. Now, if you stop thinking of the 3, stop thinking of it. Have you stopped?
Yes, right.
It's now unprinted.
Oh.
And not just this card. Stop thinking of the deck, and if you stop thinking of that, that goes back to completely blank as well. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
wild.
I hope you enjoyed that performance of the print on demand deck. If you want to see what the spectators had to say about this trick, stick around till the end of the video because I did a quick interview with them and they said what they thought about this trick. The mental photography deck is a classic magic deck that's been sold in pretty much every single magic shop around the world. It's super well known, and you're probably wondering, how is this any different from the original mental photography deck? Well, basically, this is a mental photography deck, but in reverse. The cuts on the deck are reversed from how the original deck of cards was. What this allows you to do is some very clean displays of the deck of cards and adding some extra phases with the presentation that Eric Tate talks about. What do you get when you buy print on demand? When you purchase this from Penguin Magic, you get the box, and inside the box you get a red bicycle tuck case with the reverse mental photography deck inside. You'll also get the link to the tutorial, and currently this is only available in red bicycle rider back design. What is the quality of the gimmick? The deck of cards is very good quality. There are multiple methods in play. One of them should last you a very long time, because it shouldn't wear out really. The other method can wear out over time. It'll lose its special property. However, as we'll talk about shortly, you can repair the gimmick very easily because most magicians already have the material to do so. The cards are well printed and they're USPCC printed. The components are also super well made. They allow you to spread the deck super freely without flashing anything. However, when you first get this and start doing the dribble with the whole deck printed, sometimes because the property is more fresh and you just opened the deck and you dribble the cards in the printed state, it's easier for the cards to fall the wrong way, if that makes sense, because the component is newer. So you have to break the deck in kind of. The more you use the deck and the more you practice this, that should go away completely. Now, how is the tutorial? The tutorial's 21 minutes long. It's nice and concise. Eric Tate is in the P3 Magic studio. He goes through a fresh handling of the classic mental photography deck. It's a fun routine and a great premise. It's a fun tutorial as well. Wasn't too long, wasn't too short either. Eric goes through the original routine and then the whitewash routine, which is also a fun one. Now, is this a social media or a real life effect? This would work well for both social media and real life because it's super visual. What are the angles like? Print on demand, or the reverse mental photography deck, can be performed completely surrounded. The angles are 360 degrees, which is great. I love being able to perform magic completely surrounded, because you're not always going to have good control or any control of audiences. Sometimes a crowd will just build up around you and you won't be able to control it. And if that is the case, this is perfect to bring out, because there are no angle restrictions. The people behind you are going to see the magic just as well as the people in front of you. So yeah, the angles are great. You can be completely surrounded. Now, what is the reset like? This trick resets instantly, meaning you can perform it over and over again as you're going table to table or doing walk around, which is great. Are there live performances in the tutorial? Yes, there are live performances in the tutorial. The tutorial was really good. It wasn't too long or too short. Pocket space. Now, you do have to carry, this is a gimmick to deck, and you can't do any other tricks other than the mental photography routine with this deck. So you have to carry this deck of cards in your pocket every time you want to perform this. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I understand pocket space does come at a premium nowadays, but for the amount of magic that fits in this deck, it's definitely worth keeping in your pocket. Especially if you do some form of blank deck routine or the original classic mental photography deck, this is great to carry around in your pocket to replace that. Another fun mental photography deck routine is Imagine by Peter and Harry Nardi. I recently reviewed that on the channel, so go check that review out after this one. Is this examinable? Unfortunately, the deck does not end examinable. However, the way Eric routined this, saying this is psychic ink, he makes it seem like it was a mistake to even take out the deck. Like he's like, oh, I have a normal deck of cards, I'm going to take it out. And then when he realizes it was blank, it's almost like a magician in trouble plot. So he says, he does the routine where he explains how it's psychic ink. Then he will take out a new deck of cards, a normal deck that isn't psychic ink, and then he goes into a card routine. So I don't think examinability should be a huge issue here. Of course, this does depend on who you're performing for. If you're doing this for hecklers, then you may have an issue with this not being examinable, or if you're doing it on really handsy people. Let's talk about the difficulty and the practicality of this effect. This is really easy to do. If you can just dribble through a deck of cards, you can perform this. The deck pretty much does all the work for you. Anyone can do this, even a beginner. This is also super practical for close-up magic and walk-around. You could even do this in a parlor show. It's a really practical deck. It has a good storyline, and it packs a lot of powerful magic into one gimmicked deck of cards. Is there any DIY? When you receive print on demand from Penguin Magic, you can start performing it immediately, which is great. However, as time goes on, the deck of cards does have a component that may start to wear out. However, most magicians have the materials to very quickly repair it when it wears out. It'll only take about maybe 5-10 minutes, and you're not going to be doing that for a long time. I've performed this I've done this a lot lately, and it's still not worn out even a little bit, which is great.
So about the card trick, I really didn't have any idea what was going on the entire time. And initially, I thought like, I discarded tricks like this deck of cards is like, there's like a trick to it. Then I inspected it, and I was like, what the hell? Nothing's wrong with it. So maybe magic does exist, guys.
What should print on demand retail for? The print on demand deck, aka the reverse mental photography deck on Penguin Magic, retails for $20 US. Is it worth the price? Absolutely. This is only a few dollars extra compared to the original mental photography deck, and there are lots of trick decks nowadays that are $30-$40, so for $20 this is well priced. What are the pros and cons with this? The pros are this is easy to do, this resets instantly, it's fun to perform, it's really a big improvement on the original mental photography deck. It's well made. This is a very fun new handling, and that is because of the reverse cuts. That allows for the really fun handling with the psychic ink. It has a great hook. This is practical for table-to-table magic, close-up magic, walk around, all kinds, because it doesn't even require a table. It resets instantly, as I mentioned. Not too much pocket space is required for the power of magic you're doing. The angles on this are great. Now for the cons are there is, as I said, a component of this that could wear out over time, but again, it's replaceable. And when this is new and you're dribbling the printed deck, the cards can fall the wrong way easier. So a blank card or maybe 2 or 3 could flash. And just keep that in mind when you're breaking the deck in. Also, this isn't examinable. What percent am I giving this? This is a great choice, especially if you already like the concept of a mental photography deck. I'm giving it a 94%. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time.